a gripping historical narrative story based on real events. WWII 1944. The year was 1944, and the jungles of northeastern India pulsed with a suffocating heat. The monsoon rains had begun to fall, turning the hills of Imphal into a swampy trap. Leeches clung like curses, mud swallowed boots whole, and disease stalked the soldiers like a ghost no bullet could kill. Captain Thomas "Tom" Ellery, a wiry British officer with sun-leathered skin and eyes like flint, squinted through the curtain of vines. Around him were the crumbling remnants of his company, what was left after weeks of jungle warfare against the Japanese 15th Army. Supplies were low, morale lower, but retreat was not an option. Behind them lay India-British Indian, beyond that, the heart of the British Empire. The Japanese had launched Operation Yugo, aiming to seize Imphal and Kohima, break through the British lines, and ignite a rebellion in India. What they hadn't counted on was the sheer hell of the jungle. Tom's unit, along with Indian soldiers of the 17th Division, was entrenched on the slopes of Nungshigam Ridge, where visibility was 10 feet and death even closer. Every rustle could be an ambush. Every leaf could hide a bayonet. One afternoon, during a lull in the downpour, a Gurkha scout named Bir Bahadur crept into the command post, mud from head to toe. Enemy movement. North Ridge, preparing for another push, he whispered. His kukri blade, blackened to hide its shine, dripped with rain and blood. Captain Ellery turned to his radio. Static. Silence. The lines were down again. "We hold. We must hold," he muttered, more to himself than to the men. That night, the jungle came alive with the eerie, high-pitched cry of Japanese soldiers charging in the dark. Red flares lit up the fog like blood and water. Machine guns stuttered. Mortars thumped. Men screamed. Tom fired blindly into the foliage, his hands blistered and shaking. The line buckled, but it did not break. For weeks, the siege dragged on. British and Indian troops were air supplied from above, a revolutionary tactic. Every plane that managed to land or drop crates between shell bursts was a lifeline. On April 10th, a miracle came. Reinforcements pushed through from the south. Air superiority returned. Slowly, painfully, the tide turned. In late June, the Japanese began to retreat, their dead lining the mountain paths more felled by hunger, disease, and exhaustion than bullets. Captain Ellery survived. Barely. His diary later found and published contained the words, "It was not a battle, it was a nightmare with teeth. We didn't win because we were stronger. We won because we refused to vanish." The Battle of Imphal, along with the battle at Kohima, would later be voted the greatest British battle of all time. But in the moment, for the men in the mud and mist, it was survival against the jungle itself and a brutal enemy that would not yield.